What we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge. This is Exposé coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria, every Monday on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook simultaneously. I'm your regular host, Tony Akinyemi. Don't forget, what we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge.
Hello and welcome to Exposé with Tony Akinyemi, another beautiful Monday evening here in West Africa, specifically from Nigeria. And I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you're watching this from around the globe. As we continue our conversations on the medicinal properties and benefits of certain herbs, last week we concluded by underscoring the fact that divine healing is real and natural healing is equally real. Both are from God. God gave us herbs. Genesis 1:29, Psalm 104, verses 13, 14, and 15, as well as Revelation chapter 22, verses 1 and 2. God gave us fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and herbs for nutritional purposes and for medicinal purposes, as well as many other purposes that we have underscored. And this time around, we are focusing on herbs that God gave graciously to humanity. Quite often, these herbs are very affordable and they are very available, okay? And they can exert certain, medicinal effects upon our bodies when we use them properly and correctly. They can exert what we call alterative effects. They can offer antioxidant benefits. They can be antimicrobial in nature. They can be antiviral. They can be analgesic. They can exert even anesthetic effects. They can exert antispasmodic effect. They have aromatic properties. They have astringent properties. They have diaphoretic properties. They have diuretic properties. And they can even be used as expectorants. That was where we signed off last week. Now, today we want to progress a step further by looking at the different ways in which herbs can be prepared for medicinal use. Okay? Herbs can be prepared as tinctures. They can be prepared as infusions. They can be prepared as decoctions. They can be prepared as extracts, fluid extracts, or as poultices, or even formulated into capsules and tablets for use. Now, so what are tinctures? A tincture is a herbal extract that is made by steeping herbs for a couple of weeks in a mixture of either water or alcohol. And then the liquid, the water or the alcohol, now extracts from the herb the active ingredients. And in some cases where alcohol is used, the alcohol can then be evaporated in some cases so that the alcohol is, taken out and only the extract is left behind. Okay? Infusions are like when you use herbs to make something like teas. You can take leaves and flowers of herbs and either boil them or you pour hot water on them in a teacup and allow it to kind of, brew, as it were, for about 5 to 10 minutes, just like you're making tea from tea leaves. Those are called infusions, all right? Decoctions are when you make tea out of the bark of trees, or you make tea out of seeds. Now, when you make tea out of leaves or flowers, that is called an infusion. But when you make tea out of the bark of trees or the seeds of plants, that is called a decoction, all right? Essentially the same thing, but where you make the tea from is what determines whether it is an infusion or a decoction, all right? Then we have fluid extracts. An extract of a herb is made, according to official pharmaceutical practice. Then different methods are utilized by scientists, by pharmacists, by those who are trained and who have the tools to do the extraction. So when an extract, the active ingredient in that particular herb is identified, and then there is a scientific method to extract that active ingredient out of the herb, then that becomes a fluid extract. Then poultices are when you mix chopped herbs or powdered seeds with boiling water to make, a pulp. And then you can apply the pulp, you can put it either on the boil or somewhere on the skin. That is a poultice. Then we have capsules. I don't need to describe that. When you put ground herbs, you grind it, or ground seeds, or whatever, in convenient capsules, for swallowing. Sometimes the material used to make the capsules are such that they are acid resistant, such that, when they get into the stomach, the capsule is able to pass through the stomach undisturbed, such that the content is not, the acid in the stomach doesn't touch the content in the capsule. Because sometimes some of those contents, some of those things put in the capsules are sensitive to acids. And if they get into the stomach, the acid in the stomach can destroy them. So they are put in special capsules that are acid resistant. So they pass through the stomach unscathed. And then when they get into the small intestine, that is where enzymes then act on the capsule to digest it, to dissolve it, so that the content is then released. And then it can work in the small intestine where the pH is not acidic, but somewhat alkaline in nature. Okay? Not all capsules are like that, but some capsules are like that because they are specifically designed so that they can pass through the stomach without being destroyed by acid before they get to where they are needed. And that's why sometimes some people say they can't swallow capsules. So they open the capsules and pour the content into a tablespoonful or into water, and then they swallow it. The problem is if that particular medicine is sensitive to acid, can be destroyed by acid. Once you remove it from the capsule, you destroy it. When it gets into the stomach, it mixes with the hydrochloric acid in your stomach. So it's better to swallow it with the capsule. Of course, there are those that you can remove the capsule and pour the content into whatever and take it, and they will be fine. But you have to find out before you do that so that you don't damage the content of the capsule in the stomach. Now, the pieces of information that I am providing on herbs in this series of episodes on Exposé with Tony Akinyemi are not prescriptions that are intended to treat any disease condition in particular, okay? They are just for what I call informational and educational purposes. And don't forget, what we need is not more medication, but more education. So we do more of education here, giving information that is capable of bringing transformation, okay? So if you have a medical condition, please consult a qualified healthcare provider, whether it is the allopathic medical system that you want to use, or naturopathic medical system, or chiropractic medical system, or osteopathic medical system, or any of the other medical systems out there. There are practitioners who are well-trained and licensed to practice their trade, and they can be of immense help to you when it comes to the use of these things. So what we're going to do right now is that we're going to be looking at a few herbs. Definitely, there's no way I can cover all the herbs in the world. I mean, we will be doing that till the trumpet sounds, okay? So what I would do is I would just select samples here and there and talk about them, and then leave the rest to you to continue your research to find out. So let's start with the first one today, and that is the hibiscus flower tea. Hibiscus flower. Most of us attended, public schools back in the day when we were growing up. In fact, there were almost no private schools available in Nigeria at the time when I was in primary school. There were a few of them, but they were almost, non-existent. A few of them here and there. Majority of us, probably 99.9% of us, attended public schools, public primary schools, public secondary schools, public universities, and what have you. And in most public schools in those days, we had plants, and we had fruit trees, and we had flowers, planted in our schools. And the hibiscus plant in particular was almost a common denominator in almost every primary and secondary school in Nigeria. You will find the cassia tree, you will find the hibiscus tree, you will find mangoes growing almost in every, public primary school and secondary school, particularly in the southwestern part of Nigeria where I grew up, okay? Now, let's talk about the hibiscus flower tea. Now, new research suggests that hibiscus flower tea can significantly lower blood pressure. Isn't that interesting? And can you imagine when I said that these herbs are usually available and affordable? You can plant the hibiscus, plant in your compound or anywhere else. The research says that drinking just 24 ounces would be like 3 cups, okay? 8 ounces is the average size of a cup, okay? Drinking just 24 ounces, 3 cups of tea that is brewed from these lovely flower buds appears to lower systolic blood pressure by an average of 7 points in people with pre-hypertension or mildly elevated blood pressure. Now, what is systolic pressure? When your BP is taken, either in the hospital or even by yourself at home, it normally comes in 2 numbers, something like 110 over 70. That's how blood pressure is measured. The 110 is the top number. The 70 is the lower number. Now, the top number is the systolic pressure, and the lower number is the diastolic pressure. You see, when your heart is pumping blood around your body, it beats like this. Boo, ba, boo, ba, boo, ba. As the heart is beating, when the heart pushes blood out of the heart into the blood vessels, boost, that is the maximum pressure that the blood will exert on the wall of the blood vessel. That's the systolic pressure. And then when the heart relaxes, that gives you the lowest pressure that is in your blood vessel, and that is the diastolic pressure. So you put the maximum pressure over the lowest pressure, okay? So you have the systolic over the diastolic. And now it is said that through this research that was done, that when a person who is pre-hypertensive, borderline hypertensive, is not fully hypertensive, it's just trying to cross from normalcy to high BP, okay? Pre-hypertensive, or somebody with a mildly elevated blood pressure, when that person drinks just 24 ounces, 3 cups of hibiscus flower tea in a day, it is said that, the blood pressure point, the systolic pressure, the upper pressure, normally drops by an average of 7 points. So let's assume that the person's blood pressure was like 127 over 80, for example. And then he drinks 3 cups of hibiscus flower tea throughout the day. In this research says or suggests that blood pressure can drop from 127 over 80 to about 120 over 80. It can drop by 7 points from 127 to 120. That's the upper number, the systolic pressure. And, many studies have shown that even small changes in blood pressure, when maintained over time, will reduce the risk of stroke by as much as 8% and reduce the risk of heart attack by as much as 5%. So that's really remarkable that, hibiscus flower tea can achieve that. And then according to a study that was carried out almost 25 years ago now, approximately 25 years ago, that was precisely in the year 2004, okay? And that study was published in the journal Phytomedicine. And that study says that drinking hibiscus flower tea is just as effective as taking hypertension medication. Now, the study was a very small one. It had about 70 people involved, and half of those 70 people drank 16 ounces of hibiscus flower tea before breakfast every day. Then the other half of the 70 took a medication, an antihypertensive medication, captopril. They took 25 milligrams of captopril, every day, twice daily during that period. One group, let's say 35 people, were taking hibiscus flower tea, 16 ounces before breakfast. Another 35 was taking the drug, captopril, 25 milligrams twice a day. And they monitored the two groups for 1 month. After 1 month, the hibiscus tea drinkers had their diastolic blood pressure reduced by at least 10 points in 79% of the participants. 79% of the participants, approximately 8 out of 10 of the participants in the hibiscus flower group had their diastolic pressure, the lower number in their BP, drop by 10 points at least. And then the blood pressure in the medicated group, those who were taking captopril twice a day, 25 milligrams twice a day, the medicated group, they had their own diastolic pressure reduced by at least 10 points in 84% of the participants. Let's say about 8.5 out of 10. 79% in the hibiscus flower tea group and 84% in the medicated group, okay? Now, statistically speaking, this means that both groups, had about the same level of effectiveness. Of course, the medication group had a minor margin over the hibiscus flower group. But you see, the hibiscus flower tea, had one major benefit over the drug. And that's the fact that there were absolutely no side effects for the hibiscus flower tea, particularly when those who are drinking it are not, those who are looking to get pregnant and have babies, particularly women, okay? And that's because one of my mentors in this field of natural medicine actually told me that hibiscus flower tea is contraindicated for women who are trying to get pregnant because it can cause implantation failure. So if you're a young lady in your childbearing years and you want to get pregnant, then hibiscus flower tea may not be for you because your egg may be fertilized in your fallopian tube, but when it descends into the uterus to get implanted, there can be implantation failure, and then you more or less lose that pregnancy. So women who want to get pregnant should stay away from hibiscus flower tea. Now, we are not done with hibiscus flower tea, but we're going to go on a short break. And when we come back, I will continue this discussion on hibiscus flower tea as the first herb that we're going to be talking about in this series on the medicinal properties of herbs. Don't go away. I'll be back very shortly. People are broke and they are not financially viable because they lack good money-making ideas. You may desire to have money, but if you don't have the knowledge of money and the knowledge of how to make money, money is a game. Every rule that you find in a game also applies to money. In a game, some win and some lose. The game of money, some people win money, some people lose money.
Native Financial Intelligence by Reverend Tony Akinyemi is a transformative guide to managing your finance with practical strategies rooted in biblical principles and common sense. Start your journey to financial empowerment today. Grab your copy now.
Welcome back. This is still Exposé with Tony Akinyemi. I want to thank you immensely for always finding time to join me on Exposé. I hope what we've been sharing with you have been of immense benefit to you. If they have been beneficial, we'd like to hear back from you. Just give us a comment, give us an email, or just post something in the chat room. Let us know how this is blessing you. All right? Also, be kind enough to share the video after you finish watching it today, to share it with your circle, people in your circle, your contacts. Forward it to them. It will be a blessing to them as well. And if you don't mind, you can give us a thumbs up as well. Just click on that thumbs up button, and that will be very, very, we'll be appreciative of that. Then, if you are yet to subscribe to our channel, just go ahead and click on the subscribe button. Also, click on the notification bell so that when next we are on your device, either your phone or your iPad or your laptop or your desktop, wherever you're watching this from, your device will notify you as soon as another episode of Exposé comes on board. And in case you miss any of our previous episodes, they are all there in the archives on YouTube. You can always go back there and pull them out and watch them over and over again, and they will continue to be a blessing to you. Once again, thank you for joining us every Monday evening or maybe thereafter to watch Exposé. Now we're talking about hibiscus flower tea, and before we signed off on that first half, I mentioned the fact that hibiscus flower tea is contraindicated for women of childbearing years who intend to get pregnant, because it is said that it may cause implantation failure. All right. But other than that, there are no known adverse reactions or side effects for those who take hibiscus flower tea. Now, hibiscus flower tea may also help in lowering blood cholesterol, and scientists actually reported in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine that when you drink hibiscus tea regularly, it can actually boost your HDL cholesterol levels, as well as lower your total cholesterol and your LDL cholesterol. All right? Now, the HDL cholesterol is what scientists call good cholesterol. And the LDL cholesterol is what they call bad cholesterol. So drinking hibiscus flower tea regularly is said that to be capable of boosting your good cholesterol and lowering your bad cholesterol. It can also lower your total cholesterol. So if lowering cholesterol is something you want to achieve, this is one thing you can add to your daily dietary fare. Just drink hibiscus flower tea regularly. When you brew hibiscus flower tea, it's just like, it's red like wine in the teacup when you take it. Okay, you don't need to add milk. You don't need to add sugar. If you want to sweeten it at all, maybe you can use, original honey, unadulterated honey, or you can use maple syrup grade A maple syrup, which is food grade, or you can use any other legitimate or good sweetener for that matter. All right. And when you drink it regularly, you get these benefits. It can lower systolic pressure. It can lower bad cholesterol. It can lower total cholesterol. It can help to elevate your good cholesterol, HDL. Now, other studies show that hibiscus tea also prevents the oxidation of cholesterol. I'm sure I've talked about this over and over and over again, and many of us have heard me say that cholesterol itself is not the problem. It is oxidized cholesterol that is the problem. That is known as oxycholesterol. So cholesterol can be oxidized by other substances circulating along with cholesterol in the bloodstream. And one of those things that can oxidize cholesterol is an amino acid that is called homocysteine. HOMOCYSTEINE, homocysteine. It's an amino acid. When the homocysteine amino acid, in addition with other factors like, vitamin B12, vitamin B6, in addition with several other substances like choline and what have you, are ingredients that the body uses to cook or to synthesize super antioxidants in our body. Two of them are called S-adenosine methionine, or SAMe for short. Capital S, capital A, capital M, and small e, SAMe. S-adenosine methionine, or glutathione. These are the two super antioxidants, glutathione and SAMe. The body can synthesize those antioxidants by itself, but it uses ingredients in our food to synthesize those antioxidants. And the key ingredient for synthesizing those two super antioxidants is homocysteine, the amino acid homocysteine. But this is it. When homocysteine is circulating in your blood, you eat protein, your body digests the protein, and homocysteine along with other amino acids are absorbed into your bloodstream. But your diet is deficient in other cofactors, the other ingredients needed to convert homocysteine to glutathione or SAMe, antioxidants. When those ingredients are missing, B12, you are low on B12, you are low on B6, you are low on zinc, you are low on folate, you are low on magnesium, you are low on inositol, you are low on choline. These are the other ingredients that the body needs to convert homocysteine to super antioxidants. When those ingredients are missing, the homocysteine continues to circulate around your blood without getting converted into super antioxidants. And as soon as it stays that way for long, it begins to react with cholesterol and then convert cholesterol to oxycholesterol. It oxidizes cholesterol and then converts good cholesterol, cholesterol that is supposed to be good to serve some vital functions in the body. It then converts it into a dangerous element, oxycholesterol, that is the one responsible for many of the cardiovascular problems that people experience with cholesterol, okay? Now, other studies also show that hibiscus tea reduce triglycerides. Yes, that's another lipid in the blood that can cause, cardiovascular issues. We talk about cholesterol, we talk about triglycerides. So drinking hibiscus tea may also reduce triglyceride levels in your blood, okay? And hibiscus tea is packed with different plant chemicals that are known as flavonoids, as well as polyphenols. And this may be responsible for, these blood pressure and cholesterol busting and triglyceride lowering results that we see when people drink hibiscus flower tea. I hope from now you begin to add hibiscus flower tea to your list of herbal teas that you take. I know many people are familiar with green tea, and many people do green tea. Many people do peppermint tea, because peppermint tea helps, in digestion. We have oolong tea, we have rooibos tea, we have raspberry tea, all kinds of teas. Maybe in a subsequent series, we'll talk about teas. But for now, we are discussing hibiscus flower tea under herbs. Of course, when we get to the series on teas, it may feature again. And hibiscus flower tea, incidentally, is now available in tea bags, just the same way you find your black tea and your green tea in tea bags. You can put it inside your teacup and add hot water and then brew it. Hibiscus flower tea is also available. I even entered one supermarket the other day, and I saw that Lipton, the company that makes Lipton tea, is also making hibiscus flower tea now. And it's available, particularly, I saw them here in Nigeria in supermarkets. So all over the world, hibiscus flower tea is available. There are many brands out there, and just make sure that your source is credible and go on enjoying your hibiscus flower tea henceforth. All right. The second herb that we'll be talking about today is another one that many of you probably are familiar with. It's called ginseng. Ginseng, Ginseng, ginseng. Now, ginseng is usually referred to as Panax ginseng. Panax ginseng. Now, Panax is the Greek word for panacea. Panacea, which simply means all healing. It's like the herb for all kinds of conditions. Panax ginseng. In Nigeria, in the Yoruba language, the equivalent will be gbogbonse. In other words, one medicine, one size fits all. Of course, that's an exaggeration, but that's the meaning of the word Panax. It means the panacea for all ailments. Panax ginseng, P-A-N-X, ginseng. Now, ginseng has been used successfully to treat, conditions like mild anxiety, mild depression. It contains substances that serve as adaptogens that can actually help the body to handle stress more effectively. Okay? So it's an adaptogen or an adaptogenic herb, ginseng. So if you're under stress, if you're burnt out, and you need to, relax and get, rejuvenated, refreshed, and restored, in addition to taking a break or going on vacation or, getting a massage and so on and so forth, you can also add ginseng as a supplement, part of the combo to help you to deal with your stress. Ginseng is said to also help in memory loss and cognition problems because it boosts the functions of the brain, particularly in older adults, okay? Those of us who are in our 60s and those who are in their 70s and in their 80s and so on will particularly benefit from taking ginseng. Then beyond that, it is also said that even for diabetics, ginseng contains active compounds that can help to lower blood sugar naturally. So again, if you're diabetic, this is another very good product for you to take. It's a good herb, ginseng, because it helps the body to be able to control sugar level, bring it down to normal range. That is if, of course, the blood sugar is not extremely high. For those who have very high blood sugar, you may need to do other things alongside. But those who are borderline, at the time you exercise regularly, change your diet, and you take, ginseng as well as, cinnamon, Ceylon cinnamon, and bitter melon and what have you, your blood sugar can naturally come down. Of course, I've done a series on defeating diabetes on Exposé. If you're interested, you may want to go back and look at those 14 videos that my daughter and I did on defeating diabetes. But I'm just adding another layer to the whole thing here, that for diabetics, ginseng contains active ingredients that can help to lower blood sugar naturally. So you can make it part of the tea that you take, okay, as a diabetic. Of course, it's not only diabetics that can enjoy ginseng, everybody else can. Now, ginseng also helps to slow the signs of aging in most users. Wrinkles on the skin, premature graying of the hair. I know people in their 40s with gray hair. My own gray hair started showing up after I turned 60, and then 61, 62, 63, 64 this year, all right, to the glory of God. That is when my gray hair began to show. But some people, their gray hairs begin to show right from their 40s. That's premature, okay? Ginseng is said to be able to slow the signs of aging, one of which is premature graying. Can also be premature wrinkling of the skin and what have you. So ginseng is something very beautiful that all of us can add to our retinue. It comes in different forms. It comes in capsules. It comes in different extracts, that you can drink and different ways. However you find it in your area, just follow the directions of the manufacturer on how to take it, as well as the dosage that is recommended, or maybe your healthcare provider can guide you on that. So today we've looked at two important herbs, that is hibiscus flower tea and ginseng, okay? Now, in conclusion, ginseng is also said to help the immune system. It boosts the immune system, it strengthens the body's resistance to colds and flu, as well as help even in dealing with autoimmune diseases. Ginseng enhances the production of ATP in cells, that is the energy for fuel in the body, the adenosine triphosphate. Ginseng can enhance the production of ATP, thereby supplying the body with energy and relieving chronic fatigue and tiredness. Okay, ginseng can also strengthen the immune system so the body is better able to fight off infection. Ginseng can help to relieve, hot flashes and balance hormones in particularly in perimenopausal and menopausal women. And ginseng is, by the way, a natural blood thinner as well. Okay, so if you're already on the blood thinner, please be careful to add ginseng to it because you can over-thin your blood. I mentioned hibiscus, that women attempting to get pregnant should stay away from hibiscus flower tea. And so anybody who is already on a blood thinner, you're taking aspirin or you are taking warfarin or anything that is any pharmaceutical blood thinner, then be careful in adding ginseng to it because it's also a natural blood thinner. Now, because of its wide variety of healing properties, ginseng is also frequently used as one of those things to recommend to cancer patients. Of course, anything that can boost immunity is going to be beneficial to cancer patients. So ginseng is also one of those things. And then somebody who gets a cancer diagnosis gets a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious, a little bit afraid, a little bit depressed. So as an adaptogen, ginseng can actually help to calm the nerves of those who are a little bit worked up because of the diagnosis that they just received. This is how far we got today with hibiscus flower tea and ginseng. Next week, by the grace of God, we'll be talking about yet another very wonderful herb, or maybe 2 or 3 of them if time permits. Thank you once again for being with me on Exposé with Tony Akinyemi today. See you same platform, same time next week. Don't forget that what we need is not more medication, but more education. For the best prescription is knowledge. God bless your week, and God grants the desires of your heart and even exceed your expectations in Jesus' name. Amen. I love you. Bye. Have a terrific week. People are broke and they are not financially viable because they lack good money-making ideas. You may desire to have money, but if you don't have the knowledge of money and the knowledge of how to make money, money is a game. Every rule that you find in a game also applies to money. In a game, some win and some lose. The game of money, some people win money, some people lose money.
Native Financial Intelligence by Reverend Tony Akinyemi is a transformative guide to managing your finance with practical strategies rooted in biblical principles and common sense. Start your journey to financial empowerment today. Grab your copy now.